Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. Thank you so much for coming in to join us. Come on in, everyone. Come on in. Wherever you're joining us from, we are glad to have you. Come on in. It's Friday and it's time again for our lunch and learn session. It's Friday and it's time for lunch and learn. This is where we learn. So come on in, come on in, come on in. And as you come on in, please let us know where you're joining us from. If you're joining us from across any of the states of the United States, drop your state. If you're joining us from Canada, the United Kingdom, across the Caribbean, Jamaica, wherever you're joining us from, give us some love and drop it in the chat right there. We are at it again this Friday on our Lunch and Learn session. This is where we meet each Friday. 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It's still time to ring someone else, ask them to come on in and join this session. With me today, again, are two of my favorite persons. They are Dr. Marcia Thomas. Dr. Marcia is a Christian leadership coach and consultant. Dr. Siegfried Howell, he's a master life coach, life happiness and relationship consultant. And yours truly, Dr. Janice Brooks. I am a life strategist, also a part of the Maxwell team of leadership trainers, coaches, and a certified temperament counselor. We are here always to empower you with the right strategies needed to build your life on a firm foundation. I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, that a war is never won by the strength of the army, but more so by the ability of each member of the team to become aware of their individual roles and to employ the right strategies with diligence to ensure that they win. And that's what we are here to do, to empower you with the right strategies. We are here today talking about developing self awareness. Developing self awareness. And I want to just think a little bit about this word awareness. What exactly does this word awareness mean? And I break it down to mean having or showing some amount of realization, perception, or knowledge of oneself. That is what awareness means. And so when we add it to developing self awareness, we're saying that we want to develop some knowledge, some start to realize having that perception of who we are as a person. It speaks also to the central part of who we are. Being self aware is to have that understanding of our thoughts, our values, our beliefs, and our actions. It means, in simpler terms, that we understand who we are. We know what we want, we know how we feel, and we know why we do the things that we do. Dr. Howell, add your voice to that. What does self awareness really means for you?
Well, I'm glad that you called on me first because you you gave a lot of those points already, very points. So let me add to that really quickly. And I know Dr. Marcia, she's going to have the time trying to come up with some stuff after that. I'm just playing Dr. Marcia. And so you already spoke about the understanding of yourself and understanding your motivations. I would like to add to it your thoughts, emotions, your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, and your beliefs, and being clear about your perception of your personality, your motivators, and your behaviors. But taking it slightly different, I want to add a word: introspection. Introspection is close to self awareness, and those two words are often misused because introspection to me is like external self-awareness, where you're looking at what effect does my self-awareness, my actions, my thoughts, and my beliefs have on other people. And that's the side of the coin that a lot of us often don't pay enough attention to, because everyone talks about being self-aware, but how does that self-awareness affect other people? How do my actions, thoughts, and belief affect the people around me? So there is an internal self-awareness, but there's also an external self-awareness. And I like to call the external self-awareness my introspection.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Howell. Introspection is indeed that factor. And someone dropped in the chat there that it is the key factor. Thank you so much for that point there, Syed. Dr. Marcia, add your voice to what do you think, in your belief and opinion, what is self awareness?
All right, for me, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes.
Self-awareness. Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to have you. Self-awareness for me is all of who you are. And I am leaning towards the introspection, because introspection for me is knowing, for example, how you respond. What are your responses to all aspects of your lives and the different things that occur in your life? And how do you respond to others based on the context or the environment in which you are operating with them? How do you manage your emotions and the emotions and respond to the emotions and understanding of the emotions of others? So I'm looking at self-awareness as the sum total of who you are internally and externally. If internally you do not know yourself, then you are false externally. You are fake. If
Mm-mm-mm.
internal and external does not correspond or have a cross pollination or at some point merge in a mutual response, then you are divided. You are different persons, and you need to now get yourself together. So your responses, your behaviors, your intentions, your attitudes, your mindset, your emotions, your thoughts, and your experiences can coincide as a whole and have your response being an authentic one.
Wow.
Mm-mm-mm.
Wow. If they don't intersect, then there is going to be a challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, we are on this Lunch and Learn, and we are talking about the, the development of self awareness. In other words, developing self awareness. What exactly is self awareness, and how can you develop it? There are some things in life that are one size fit all, and there are some things that are not. And just as we eat, we have food and water to survive and to live. I believe self awareness is one of those things that we need in order to live our lives in an effective way. When we know ourselves, we are better able to grow ourselves. So I want to come back over to Dr. Howell again. And I want to just ask you, Dr. Howell, share with our audience today on this Lunch and Learn session. How does one develop or even improve their self awareness?
I'm glad you asked that question. So there are four things that I wanted to share with you. First, if you take time out for scheduled self-reflection, and that is just thinking about what you do, why you do it, how you do it, and the thoughts around doing it, and then you engage in introspection. How does that involve other people? How does that affect other people? And then you consider those people's thoughts, emotions, and actions. So it's almost like combining emotional intelligence to your self-awareness. And then after that, another way you can improve your self-awareness is to look at your HQP, your high quality people. You have you have your family members, you have mentors and people that you can ask their opinion to see what is their perspective of you, because just having your perspective is not good enough. because we are seen by others, and we want to make sure how we feel about ourselves is also the way that other people feel about us. Not because that necessarily guides us, because sometimes people's views of us might be negative and you can't take that on. But if you have the high quality people who you trust and you appreciate their input and their insight, then you can take what they give you and use that to help you become a more self-aware person. The third thing I want to add to that is you can practice journaling. And I know a lot of people don't journal like they used to, but one thing that journaling can do is it can allow you to see trends, habits, and cycles that you may not see because you're not taking proper notes. But if you journal on a regular basis, when you have those down times or those negative times, you can see what happened before that. And was there some type of trigger that caused that particular feeling or that particular action? And then you can find processes and techniques and strategies to help you avoid those triggers in the future. The last thing that you can do is to practice mindfulness. We spoke about this before on another session. And mindfulness is basically living in the now, living in the present. And so you can look at some of the past things to see what you can change or adapt to in order to become more efficient at living in the present. And so if you can utilize strategies such as meditation, such as deep breathing, such as going on vacations, you can take time out, you can unplug and better appreciate who you are as an individual, and you can grow and develop. And so that will give you a better sense of self-awareness.
Thank you, Dr. Howell. Those are some excellent points that you have dropped there. I hope whoever is listening to this session today, that you are actually taking notes, because sometimes we come up short on some things that we need to have. And that is why we're here today sharing in this Lunch and Learn. Welcome in again. And please do drop in the chat where you're joining us from. Please feel free to add your comments, your questions to the conversation that we're having here today, because we are talking about developing self-awareness. Dr. Howell talked about the mindfulness and the journaling. I love those two. And Dr. Howell, if I may add also, I love the fact that we need to add some amount of compassion when we are thinking about improving our self-awareness. We can't be too judgmental in assessing ourselves. And when I say assessing ourselves, we need to ask ourselves some questions. Mind you, we sometimes have to ask ourselves some of the hard questions so that we can pull those answers. We know that in order to go higher, we have to go within, because it is all within us. Dr. Marcia, I am coming up on this question because this is also another burning question. Now that Dr. Howell talked about how to develop the self-awareness, what are some of the primary benefits that you would share with this audience of having self-awareness?
Well, the first thing I want to say, I wanted to
All righty. I think Dr. Marcia is having some connection issues right there. We had asked Dr. Marcia, go ahead, Dr. Marcia. We had asked Dr. Marcia to speak about some of the benefits of being self-aware. And while Dr. Marcia is waiting to come back on because of the technology challenges, I want to just think of just a few. When we are self-aware, it benefits us in so many ways. We have greater leadership abilities when we are self-aware. When we are self-aware, we have the ability to manage and regulate our emotions. And that is a critical part of us being leaders in our workplaces, in our schools, in our homes. All of these things help us to regulate our emotion when we are more self-aware. Dr. Marcia, go ahead and answer the question.
So sorry about that. My light went out for a moment there. I wanted to add my voice in relation to becoming more self-aware. One of the ways in which I feel that self-awareness can be enhanced is when you understand who you are and whose you are. We need to put our reference point in a God-oriented stance. We are created by God. We are created in his image. And he wants us to accept ourselves for who we are and then allow him to make the changes in us that we need to make in our lives as we become more intimate with our thoughts or emotions, the things that benefit us and not benefit us. So while meditation and all of those things are also involved, we must include prayer and consultation with God. He must tell us how he has equipped us and what he wants us to do and the places we want to go. That's very important to becoming self-aware. We did not originate from out of the sky. We were born and created in the image of God, and we are in his likeness. We are born as our greatest assets, and the skills and talents are in us. And as we develop them, we must develop them in a God-oriented way. And if we do that, then the benefits are secured. There is personal empowerment when you are self-aware. Persons don't lead you anywhere they want you when you are self-aware. You know your goals, you know your actions and your intentions, and you put the success to your actions and intentions. So you are not able to be bribed, you are not able to be bought nor sold. You are always authentic, and you always appear unapologetically doing what you know you can do. The second thing is the emotional intelligence. When you are self-aware, meaning you know yourself, you are a master of your own destiny and master of your circumstances and your environment, meaning you take them in stride and in context and you act accordingly. You know what you will change, what you cannot change, and what you will separate from you. You are able to make the right choices. You manage your emotions and they do not manage you. Your response to people is your power. Your thoughts become more powerful because they are always true to your growth and your development and to adding value to you and yourself. The final point I want to make, which does not exhaust it at all, but seeing that my time was eaten up in that little dispatch, I want to say the final thing is empowering yourself so that you are able to maneuver your circumstances and remain resilient and adaptable. When you know yourself, nothing takes you out. You might be taken unaware, you might be taken by surprise, but you are always prepared because you know yourself. You know what you will do and what you will not do. So your circumstances give you an opportunity to expand and to enhance all the things that you know about yourself and to put them out in a very meaningful, intentional, and purposeful way so that no weapon that is formed against you can actually prosper and everything works for your good, for you, and not against you.
Wow. Dr.
Wow.
Marcia, that was really a powerful share there on how to realize the benefits right there of self-awareness. I want to welcome again Syed, Diana, Lucia, and all the others who are joining us today on this live session, Lunch and Learn. I do see Syed have a question in the chat. And he said at Dr. Janice and other dignitaries, really amazing, wonderful shout out all on self-awareness and mental well-being is much needed. My question is how to develop self-awareness and prioritize. I do know that Dr. Howell had actually spoken about the development of self-awareness already. He did mention things like journaling. he mentioned reflection, I think, mindfulness. And I did come in with compassion, having grace on your own self and not being judgmental. I also spoke about developing self awareness. Uh, is is a critical aspect when you add the emotional side of things. Um, self I'm missing it right there. When you add the emotional awareness, thank you so much. When you add the emotional awareness side of things, and that emotional awareness side is asking yourself many questions. Some simple questions I can think of right now is asking yourself questions like, what do I love about myself? And what do I think about when I'm alone? What do I most think about? Uh, Other questions could be, what are the limiting beliefs that I have or that I hold about myself or about the world? A great question that I love also is, what do I need to tell myself today? What do I need to tell myself today? What are some things I need to say to me so that I can become more aware of who I am? What is the best decision I've ever made in my life? There are some deep questions that help us to bring out that self-awareness that we really need to function in life in an effective way. So I hope, Syed, that that answers your question to some extent. And we are open for individual sessions. We also teach as a group. We also train as a group. We also coach as a group. So we will be opening group sessions coming in August and down to the end of the year. Also, if you would like to speak with any one of us individually about anything concerning self-awareness or any other topic that interests you, know that we do individual coaching sessions as well. Dr. Sigfred specializes in aspects of relationship, all types of relationship. Dr. Marcia is a Christian leadership coach and consultant. And yours truly, again, I am a life strategist. So I help you with the different strategies. I empower you with a strategy for everything that you face in life. I have a strategy to help you to overcome that. So I wanted to just let you know that as well. If you're here, we do offer those sessions as well. I want to continue on because we have just a few more minutes in this lunch and learn session. And I'm coming back to you, Dr. Sigfred, because I want you to tell us at least 4 ways, tell the audience at least 4 ways that people can build their self-awareness in their everyday life. Leave them with these 4 practical ways that
Thank
they
you very
can
much.
build their self-awareness.
Yes. So, thank you. The first thing I want to say is this: just imagine that you are a chestnut or you are a seed. Everything that you need to develop yourself is already inside of you. All you have to do is to find it. And how do you find it? With self-awareness. And so every experience that you have, and I believe that Dr. Marcia brought it up, whose are you? You are God's. And so if you are God's child and God's property, then what that means is this: God is in control. And so if he allows certain circumstances to come your way, that means that it is there for a purpose. So what is that purpose? So self-awareness allows you to look at your problems as opportunities to grow. And so how does that work? Well, first, one of the things you can do is to become a better active listener. By becoming a better active listener, what you're doing is you're engaging with the relationship with other people. Instead of listening to talk, you're listening to understand. So that is how you can better understand how people are interacting with you and how you are interacting with other people. And it allows you to take control of the situation and the emotions and the flow of the communication, especially if it's going in a negative way. You can find a way to reframe it and bring it back into positive. And that is what emotional intelligence is about. So reflecting on active listening is one step. The second step I'd like to talk about, we talked about it in the previous question that I had, was self-reflection, introspection, and journaling. That means with the self-reflection, I'm looking at my thoughts and my actions, the pros and the cons of what I have done. That is the self-awareness part. But the introspection part is how does it affect other people part. And then when you look at the journaling allows you to see all of those aspects. So you can see, okay, when this happened, it's because I said this or I missed this. And so you can look and see, was it an error on your side or was it an error on the other person's side? And if it was an error on my side, how can I fix it? And if it was an error on the other person's side, how can I reframe what I did in order to make it more understandable? The third thing you can do is to regularly assess your values, your beliefs, and your actions to make sure that they align with your purpose in life. Make sure that they align with what you truly believe so that you can be your best authentic self. Because a lot of times we get so caught up in technology, or a lot of times we get so caught up in what is going on around us that we stray away from our path. And so self-reflection allows us to get back on track to go in the direction that we need to go in. And last but not least, find new experiences. You remember I started with the fact that we are a seed. We have a lot of things, we have a lot of potential inside of us, and it's up to us to bring that out. How do you bring that out? Exposing yourself to different things that are positive, mind you, but being able to go and stretch yourself outside of your comfort zone so that you can become a better person. So if you have a short fuse, learn how to develop patience. If you're shy, learn how to be more outgoing. If you are not as smart as you want to be, find people to surround yourself with, HQP, high quality people. And so find ways to go outside of your shell, to develop yourself, to stretch yourself a little so that you can be the best version possible of yourself.
Excellent points, Dr. Howell. Dr. Marcia, I know we are almost out of time, so I want you to just help the audience with these final words. A critical part of self awareness is to be able, one, to define our values and our beliefs without being influenced by others. How would you, Dr. Marcia, explain that? Because there's a lot of external influence that is happening around us. And sometimes it shuts us into a box. How would you help the audience with that?
All right, so nothing can enter your space unless you allow it. That's number one. You are the guardian of your space, and you have a choice. Even if you're influenced, even if you're prodded, even if a gun is put to your head, the choice is yours. It is your choice. You make that choice. And so the Bible talks about being able to add to yourself virtue and knowledge and so on. But after you have acquired those things, look at what it has put at the last bottom of that list: self-control. Self-control is very important because self-control is from inside out. It is not from outside in. Self-control. So no matter what comes in your way, you must say, what is it that I value? What is the value that I bring? How am I allowing myself to respond to something that I consider unacceptable or undesirable? It is not external, it is internal. That is, first of all, very important. Internal refers to your triggers and your responses based on traits, based on cultivated habits, based on temperament and certain personality traits. Because the same person, another person, can be in the same context, in the same situation, and respond completely differently. And so the internal influence is solely on you, no one else. And then there is the external that are really related to the natural things like the change in the climate, how you respond to those things, and metaphorically too, how you respond to change of persons' moods, their behaviors, their attitude, and their responses towards you. Do you allow it to empower you, or do you allow it to embody you, so you lose control of your direction, your focus, your intention, and you give in instead of standing up firm and resolute in you and who you are and what you stand for. Externally too, you can be pressured to make choices that you were not prepared to make when you entered that arena. But the pressure and the overwhelming tensions and circumstances make you buckle instead of making you stand off, take a little pause, and see how you can work the situation to your best advantage. Those are the ways in which our personal selves and our responses are triggered if we do not have what the Bible calls self-control. Self-awareness and total absolute self-awareness breeds and results in self-control. You become the master of your destiny, and you make the choices based on you and what you're experiencing. And as you develop and expand in those ways, you are able to make the right choices in your situations and circumstances for yourself and for others.
Wow. Dr. Marcia, that was huge. You become the master of your own destiny. Everything is wrapped up in that. You become the master of your own destiny. You are not influenced by anyone. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you so much for joining us for this live session here today, Lunch and Learn. Dr. Sigfred Howell, a life, relationship, and happiness coach and consultant. He is a master in his field. He covers all aspects of relationship. And so he is open for one-on-one coaching or consulting. He's also open for group coaching, consulting, speaking engagements, all of those things. Dr. Marcia Powell, she is a Christian leadership coach and consultant. And she teaches and she actually preaches in the field of Christian coaching and counseling. She helps you to build your life on that firm foundation. She's open also for all types of one-on-one sessions and group coaching and counseling. And she also open for engagements in speaking as well. I am here to just close this session by saying self-awareness is one of the most important skill that you need for your life. Even though it may not be the most important, but certainly it is at the top of all the skills that you need, because it shines a light on the person who you are, your thoughts, your feelings, your values, your actions. It helps you to realize your own purpose in life and leads you to your destiny, making you aware of your own authentic self, why you do the things you do, your temperament, all of those things self-awareness covers, so that you are not challenged anymore to stand in your own self. When you become more self-awareness, you do not look to others to build you up. You look to them to complement you on the journey to become your very best self. So I want you to think about this. Ask someone that you trust to help you to become more self-aware. Ask them to describe you. It will illuminate your perspectives on your own self, Try not to get bogged down with all of the emotions that bother you, but name these emotions, label them, and deal with them one by one. Become aware of what are the triggers of these emotions. Take time every single day to look at yourself as objectively as possible. And last but not least, ask yourself the deep questions. What would you do? This is one of my favorite questions. What would you do if you know that you couldn't fail? If you know that there was no failure, what would you do? Ask yourself some of those questions. As I said before, I'm yours truly, Dr. Janice Brooks, and I am also open for the individual coaching and counseling sessions. I am a certified temperament counselor. I'm also part of the Maxwell team of speakers, coaches, and leadership trainers, open for all of the group coaching, training, and all of those solutions. And so, please, I hope that you take away something from this session today. And I am going to give Dr. Howell the last say before I go here. 60 seconds, Dr. Howell. What do you want to leave with the audience today?
I think you ladies have covered just about everything. The first thing I want to say is self-discipline. You can understand, you can know everything you need to do. You can even comprehend it, how your life is going to go. But if you lack self-discipline, you're not going to go as far as you need to go in life. So self-discipline needs to be in tandem with self-awareness if you want to reach your life purpose, if you want to go far in life, if you want to achieve everything you want to achieve. Think about all the politicians and all the preachers and all the business people that allow the lack of self-discipline to bring them down. And so you cannot just reflect and not act on it. And you can't just reflect and act without having restraint. And so I implore you, connect self-awareness with action, but also with self-control. You all have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Dr. Marcia, 30 seconds.
I have a famous saying, if you connect self-awareness with self-control, then to your own self, you are always true and cannot be false to any man.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again for joining us for this another Lunch and Learn session. I hope you all took away something from here today. We are here each Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, to share with you on another topic that we believe will help you to learn and to grow. On Tuesdays at 7:45 a.m., we are back on LinkedIn with an audio live session where we share on another important topic that we do believe will help you to keep your life on a firm foundation. And on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, we are in the Zoom room around the fireside, sharing with the audience on another topic again. We are all about learning and growing, building people and changing lives. Dr. Marcia, Dr. Howell, and the audience, have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Thank you so much for spending your time, your valuable time with us today. God bless you richly, and you have a peaceful, abounding in grace weekend. May everything that you desire for this weekend, may it come to pass. And if it doesn't, just remember, Isaiah, I believe it's 60 and verse 22 says, when the time is right, God will make it happen. You have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your weekend. Take good care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.